As a 60 Minutes reporter, I've been lucky enough to have travelled to every continent on Earth, bar one, Antarctica, that vast icy wilderness at the bottom of the world. Well, finally I've made it. I've spent an unforgettable week there, and the images will stay with me forever. The incredible scale, the wildlife, the nightless skies, the frightening emptiness, and amazingly, the colours of ice. Australia is the biggest stakeholder in this beautiful land, and we've pushed harder than anyone to protect it from exploitation. But as I discovered, change is on its way. At the bottom of the Earth, 14,000 square kilometres of ice and rock. 70% of all the fresh water on Earth lies frozen here. Antarctica, a place that overwhelms the senses and, as I was to discover, a place that's as dangerous as it is dramatic.
Dig! Look at the solid ice! What happens if I can't do it, mate?
Charles, if you can't dig this hole in the next 5 minutes, you're gonna freeze to death! Hurry up!
Okay.
It's not good enough, keep digging!
I've come to this timeless place because change is coming fast. Mining speculation, tourism, climbing temperatures, all putting unprecedented pressure on this vast wilderness.
If I saw that as a photo, I'd think somebody had doctored it. But we haven't. It's like nothing else on Earth, isn't it? Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to come here. It's taken me half a lifetime, but Antarctica does not disappoint. If anything, it is even more beautiful than I'd ever imagined. And then there is the sheer size of the place. The whole of continental Australia could vanish within the confines of this frozen continent. It's surprising then that Australians like me know so little about the place. I think it's time we got to know Antarctica a whole lot better. It's a marvellous crowd, isn't it? To me, it's of biblical proportions, like the Sermon on the Mount.
You should try counting them.
There's no better barometer of Antarctica's shifting fortunes than the Adelie penguin. It isn't only one of the cutest creatures on the planet, but also one of the toughest. And Australian scientists Colin Southwell and Louise Emerson devote their frozen summers to studying their every move.
Adelies are very, very amusing animals to watch, and everyone who comes down here gets captivated by them.
Yeah, you can't help laughing. Not at them, but with them, I think.
But when they're on land, they're very amusing. When they're in water, they're just stunning.
These penguins are fringe dwellers. Only the rocky margins of Antarctica are suitable for breeding because they build their nests out of the only available material, pebbles. Hard currency for penguins, worth recycling and certainly worth stealing.
So these are about 5 weeks old at the moment. They hatch around
They're only
Christmas
5
time.
weeks old.
Yeah, 5 to 6 weeks old.
That's very quick growing, isn't it?
Yeah. Colin's doing the calculations in his head.
Yeah, it is quick growing, but everything that breeds down here has to fatten up really quickly.
A small window of
because
opportunity.
of the very short breeding season.
And this breeding season has been a good one. Big Brother, a spy left out in the cold, capturing a daily snapshot of the colony's population.
What date are you on now?
So the 15th of October.
Well, they
14th
should be coming in a minute then.
Yeah, no, 14th of October there's a penguin there.
Okay, so 14th.
And the 15th there's quite a few.
Right. So they should come flooding in now.
Yep.
The scientists hope to set up 30 cameras at different rookeries, creating a digital record of the arrival of the first penguin, the first egg, the first chick. It's a census take of our southernmost home builders and a key measure of how they're faring.
Where did everyone go in that shot?
Well, so this is what happens. The colony clears out at the end of the season.
that's
so we can
sad.
look at when they arrive, when they depart.
Yeah,
We can measure
brilliant.
breeding success.
I've spent my lifetime rattling around the world. I don't think I've been anywhere more remote than this.
It's an amazing feeling. You know, way over there is Australia, across the Southern Ocean, and head that way and you get to the South Pole. And
Dr. Tony Fleming is Australia's, indeed the world's, largest land baron. No man on Earth is responsible for running a bigger domain than the head of our Antarctic division.
we're very little specks in this entire continent.
And suddenly that phrase, the ends of the earth, has real meaning.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at the southern end of the earth.
We claim 42% of Antarctica, but holding on to that claim comes with a massive price tag, over $120 million a year.
Why should the Australian taxpayer watching this be happy that his money's being spent here?
Because we're gaining knowledge, which is critical to the future of the planet. You know, we better understand our climate systems, our ocean systems, our biological system because of what we do here.
And Australians have been coming here for a century. Young men who performed outrageous and heroic feats of endurance in the quest to discover this, quite literally, awful place.
What they were doing, though, was sailing off the edge of the map. They didn't have any satellite photos, they didn't have any aerial views of what they were walking through.
They're going into the unknown.
They were going into the unknown in wooden ships, sailing ships, which had very little power.
And not knowing when they'd get back.
No.
If.
No, absolutely, and some of them sadly didn't get back.
Such a statement is profoundly personal for Tony Fleming. The fact he is alive at all is because his maternal grandfather, Raymond Priestley, survived the ill-fated Scott expedition by spending an Antarctic winter in an ice cave eating seal blubber.
Now that I know what they did and the consequences of what they did, it's with great pride that I look back on that generation.
And it nicely closes the circle, and you'll probably never have to spend a year in an ice cave.
Well, hopefully not. I don't think I'd survive that year.
Right now, I don't know if I'm going to survive the day.
I would say the weather's changed.
The weather has changed, Charles. It's got a lot windier and it's getting colder and we have to go to ground.
Chris Gallagher is putting me through my compulsory blizzard training.
Dig, dig, dig.
Look at solid ice.
I have a matter of minutes to dig a trench and jump into a bivvy bag.
What happens if I can't do it?
Charles, if you can't dig this hole in the next 5 minutes, you're gonna freeze to death. Hurry up. Okay. Jump in, pull it all in, over the top of you.
Welcome to the Hotel Antarctica.
How does that feel?
How do you bloody reckon? What's the temperature out there?
Oh, it's not too cold, it's probably -5.
Oh, well, it's only about -4 in here.
Despite my protests, life in Antarctica is much easier than it's ever been, with cooked meals, creature comforts, even home brewing. But by far the biggest change has been to the tyranny of distance.
Mate, welcome to runway 09.
09.
Mickey Lodeman is the man who's helped usher in the jet age to the ice age, managing Australia's 4-kilometre ice runway in Antarctica, now only 4.5 hours from Hobart.
This is a glacier.
It is a glacier, yeah.
You wouldn't think you could land an aeroplane?
No, you wouldn't think so. Well, we don't lead on this section, and that's why you can see the difference over here with the groom section.
Yeah.
We leave this blue ice so that it stands out from the distance.
This is quite beautiful, isn't it? How far down does it go?
700 metres. 700 metres thick.
And flight FA01 comes into view, and unlike most airlines, right on time.
You just don't expect to see aircraft that big in a place like this.
No. It's scary.
It is scary. Nice work.
It's spectacular.
It is spectacular. It normally pulls up in about 800 metres.
Well done, Mickey. Another safe landing.
Thanks very
well
much,
done.
Charles. Appreciate it.
All that's changing in Antarctica isn't immediately apparent. Traditionally, the Adelie penguins only had to contend with predators like killer whales and leopard seals. But today, with parts of Antarctica warming 10 times faster than the rest of the planet, climate change is becoming the penguins' greatest challenge.
Have you seen a decrease in population numbers?
On the Antarctic Peninsula, yeah, there's been a decrease, quite a significant decrease.
What's the order of the decline?
Over in the Antarctic Peninsula, the populations seem to be declining about 1 to 2% per annum.
Up to 2%.
It might not sound much in
Well,
one
that
year,
sounds
but,
a lot to
over
me.
many years that can lead to large population declines.
So the Adelie penguin is a bit like his cousin the canary in the coal mine, a key indicator of change.
It's a lovely day to go down to the seaside, isn't it? It doesn't get much warmer than this, I would imagine.
It doesn't get better than this. This is just about the best I've seen.
And discovering just what the future holds for this frozen frontier is all part of the challenge for those modern-day explorers, Australia's scientists.
Well, Antarctica is one of those places where there is so much that's unknown that some of the most basic things we can still learn about.
So there are still things to be discovered.
Absolutely, and that's what we're doing. We're going out to discover those things.